it slips. His bass fucking slips. His upright bass slips, and the fucking neck hits, and it breaks the whole fucking neck off the bass, man. Just the whole fucking neck was like off of the upright, and it was the school's bass. So he's like, "Oh fuck, man!" So we didn't end up playing at all that night. Everyone was all bummed out. Oh shit.
What years were you at UCO?
Let me think about that. That would be shit. Actually, I have to think about that. Because okay, my first year on cruise ships was 90. See, my first year at UCO was 94. I think 94 or 95, maybe. See, I went in the spring, or I mean, I went in the fall. Yeah, I think it was 94, something like that.
And like when you were there, like when you guys, all right, your first day there, man, or how did you even like get to UCO? What made you choose that school?
Well, I knew Lee Rucker. I went up there before. I mean, the first college I went to was ECU, and the reason I went down there is because it was in Ada, and I had a bunch of high school buddies, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought it'd be fun to go back down there. But when I got there, man, it was pretty lame. I mean, the big band, they had a big band, a jazz band, but I was lead tenor my first year there. You know what I mean? So it was like, I was there like a half a semester and I quit, and then I went to OU for 2 years, and that was pretty cool. John Williams was the director at that point in time, and he's a good bass player. But yeah, he's a good band director. We went to Wichita Jazz Festival and all that shit. We played Dave Gibson arrangements. He's the guy that went to UCO. And we actually played his arrangement of Caravan. And we went to, and then after that I just, started hanging out with Dave Bowen, who actually graduated with my younger sister. And we started playing music the summer after he graduated. We'd go out and play on the street in Norman. He'd just bring a kick drum and a snare, and I'd take my tenor sax and we'd play out on the street. We'd make about $7,500 a night out there on Camp's Corner, and go buy a sack and a couple of 6-packs and hang out or whatever.
Wow.
And then that's when I switched from OU to UCO. And Dave Bowen and I were roommates in the dorms, and I was like 24 and he was like 18 or whatever. I got beer confiscated several times. I was like, "Fuck y'all, man! I'm 24 years old, man. I can have fucking beer if I want." They're like, "Not on campus, you can't." I was like, I was pissed. I was like, "You pigs enjoy drinking this fucking beer when you get off work."
Oh wow!
Asshole. I actually said that to him, man, and they just left, man. I was like, at least they didn't take me to jail, I guess, but. Those were the good old days, though.
What was the school experience like while you were at UCO? You were just telling me a story about like you guys used to be in there.
We practiced. I mean, during the day it was get up 7 a.m., go to music theory, go to a practice room and start fucking practicing, and practice until 4 in the morning, basically. Practice fucking skills and personal shit and chord progressions and jazz band charts and as much as you can cram into a day. Technique, scale, patterns, improvisation, practice, whatever, just all day long. At one point in time, I probably practiced 8 to 10 hours a day for my first year. For my first year there. And then my second year there, I still probably practiced about 3 to 6 hours a day for the next couple of years.
Wow.
And then I didn't even start playing flute until I was working on cruise ships after college.
Now, how'd you get into the cruise ship thing, man? That's kind of ill.
A guy I went to school at UCO with, Zach Lee, who's teaching up at UCO right now, called me up and said, we need it. Well, actually, my first job on cruise ship was as a sound technician. I got hired on my own. I sent him my resume, and I wanted to run sound for big like Vegas shows and check all that shit out and whatever that had to offer. And I did good at it, man. I was a good sound tech, but what they don't tell you on that gig is you got to get up at like 6 o'clock in the morning or 5 o'clock in the morning to set up slide projectors for business meetings and shit like that.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, man, I don't know fucking shit about slide projectors, man. Why do I get up at fucking 4:30 in the morning? Because like people would charter business cruises, you know?
Uh-huh.
And so the tech on call would have to go set up all their bullshit. And plus, like, you have to deal directly with a hotel manager who's a fucking real cocksucker most of the time. And I just didn't like it, man. So I quit that and I went back home. And then my buddy called from the Jubilee, and they were still in their Caribbean run at that time. And he said, man, we need an alto player. And I'm not an alto player. I'm not a lead alto player. They needed a lead alto player. Well, a friend of mine said, hey man, I'll loan you my alto, take it and go out and play lead alto. I'm like, shit, but I don't play lead alto. But I did it anyway because I was desperate and I wanted to play music. So I went out there and I played lead alto for, I think it was only about a month. But my first cruise as a saxophone player was probably the hardest musical cruise out of all the rest of the years I spent playing music on cruise ship. It was a 13-day cruise through the Panama Canal with 1 day off. So that's 12 shows, plus like 7 dance sets, a bunch of jazz sets, jugglers, fly-on acts, singers, fucking all kinds of shit. And I mean, it's a sight reading gig, so if you can't sight read well enough to get your act together by showtime, you're gone. I mean, they fire you, you know?
Wow.
And I mean, I definitely had some
real
complaints.
Professionals. That was like, just, you know,
it was a really good
jumping
band.
into the fire.
Yeah,
Good
exactly.
training.
Right into the fire, man. And I'm glad I did it. It was just as valuable as college because, I mean, and I sucked as a lead alto player, you know. I mean, I did okay, you know. I got to a place where I was sounding all right. But, I mean, it was just not my thing. It never was my thing. And so, but what I was able to do is buy a tenor from the money that I made from that gig. So I went back home after that month and bought a tenor. And then I went on the Fascination, I think, as a lead tenor player. And, I mean, I stayed lead tenor after that for 14 boats.
Wow.
You know? And for 5.5 years, I did nothing but play lead tenor saxophone and flute and sometimes guitar on cruise ships. And it was a blast. And, you know, on most of the ships that I worked on, at least 1 or 2 other people were from UCO.
What?
Yeah.
Wow, so UCO is pretty much just
Dude,
internationally.
The best band I ever was on a cruise ship with, Dave Bowen was on drums, just fucking ridiculous. And Jason Cademy, a great left-handed guitar player that we went to school at UCO, was there. Zach Lee, the trombone player who now teaches up at UCO, was there. I was there. Yeah, there was like 4 of us in an 8-piece band from UCO. And it was a sick band. The other guys were like from Canada and 1 guy from Las Vegas. And they were all fucking great, man. We had this piano player from Canada who was fucking sick, man.
So how would you say that as far as musical schools go, that UCO, you know, stacks up against the rest?
Well, you know, I think it was just, it has a lot to do with who's there and teaching at the time. And I mean, I was there, and before my time at UCO was even probably a higher caliber of people they would turn out. I mean, there's been a lot of high caliber, really, really high caliber musicians come out of UCO.
Name a few.
Now, you know, Dr. Kidwell and Lee Rucker, you know, taught there for years and years. They're both gone now. So that's a huge, huge, huge loss, you know. But, on the other hand, the people that they taught are teaching there now. So, I would say, in Oklahoma, it's still the best school to go to for jazz, by far. It beats Weatherford, and it beats, oh shit, what's the name of that school in between Oklahoma City and Stillwater?
Look, not Langston.
Yeah, Langston. They got a decent jazz program too. It's decent. I mean, it's pretty good. Langston's jazz program is pretty good. And Weatherford's jazz program has always been pretty good. There was a guy who used to teach in Tahlequah, tenor player, who's fucking like ridiculous sick, and he died a while back, but they had a good jazz band up there for a while. But still, UCO, I mean, UCO rivals North Texas. It's a smaller school, but you get more individual attention with the top teachers. You go to North Texas, man, you're going to get an understudy for your fucking first 4 years or 2 years or whatever, you know? So...
All right, man. Well, yo,
But,
I gotta
yeah.
go and do a little something real quick, but check it out. Tell them who you are, tell them the name of your band, and invite them out to the show.
My name is Matt Hope. Name of our band is Goodbye Babylon, and please come out to our show, December 18th.
Where at? Water's Edge Winery. Yeah, Water's Edge Winery, guys. I never even told you that, so it's not his fault. I didn't even tell him what the name of the place was. All right, and
No, but I'm good at whining.